Hello, I'm Andy, and I'm going to read to you using tarot cards the horoscope for the month of February 2017. Let me shuffle the Kabbalistic tarot cards, and the first card that I'm going to pull is got to do with areas of romance, marriage, family, but let's tackle romance first. Now it shows that there is so much possibility of a new romance, or if you have one already, of making that romance that's with you a delightful affair. So you are extremely happy in the first period of the month, which I would say, to be more precise, the first 2 weeks of the month. So the first 2 weeks of the month you can find a romance easily, and your romantic partner, if you already have one, is very happy. The second half of the month there's a dramatic change, and the romance for you becomes a thing to worry about. I suspect firstly that some secrets may be exposed. It could be your secret exposed, and therefore your romance partner becomes unhappy, or the romance partner's secrets exposed and you become very unhappy. Secondly, the financial area is also a worrisome, and so a poor financial area in the in the last 2 weeks is going to put a lot of burden regarding your romances. Try to take the middle road. Don't show arrogance. The sign of the sun is shown here, so don't show arrogance. That way you'll be able to pull through, and the last 2 weeks may not allow the romance to be broken, but just to be under stress. Regarding your marriage, the first 2 weeks are extremely happy. They show a growth of the family. They show past, whatever's happened in the past, making your marriage even feeling better for the first 2 weeks of February. And then they also show that areas of finances are okay. But there's one area which I worry about, and that's to do with, well, it's not anything to do with your marriage, but it's to do with your income, which I'll talk to you a bit later. The second half of the month is a little bit treacherous for you in your marriage area. There can be news that can be very disrupting. It could be in the forms of secrets being exposed, yours or your marriage partner's, or that news comes which is very depressing. And so some depressing news puts some panic in your marriage area in the last 2 weeks and brings about a very gloomy situation. The emotional areas are very high-strung, the card says. So be careful, and that your views and the views of your marriage partner are totally opposite. So perhaps in areas of investing, or for some reason there is difficulty in your marriage in the last 2 weeks. Regarding general family areas, the problem in the last 2 weeks could come from interference, and this could be due to interference from your siblings, that your brothers and sisters, or your parents. So for the whole month of February, don't allow your parents or your siblings to have any say in your romance or your marriage areas. The next card I'm going to pull has to do with your career, business and financial areas, and it's facing me. Now, here it shows that the first 2 weeks are going to bring many good possibilities in your career. People are after you. You are in demand. So it's a very exciting first 2 weeks you have. But you have to be careful, because the second half of the card says that all the promises given to you are not to be relied upon. All the possibilities of getting a better job and looking for a new area cannot be totally relied on. Why? Because the second half of the month shows that you are going to be very disappointed. You are going to feel very let down. You are going to be frustrated, and therefore your movement and progress is not seen in the last 2 weeks of February. So don't get too excited. Don't take risks of wanting to give your notice and expecting good news to come, or waiting for another job. Try to play it cool and don't take risks at all in the first 2 weeks, and that way you can move into the last 2 weeks of the month intact with your present job. Regarding business, the first 2 weeks have plenty of promises. It's like a new moon and a new awakening, and new types of business and new directions. By all means, go for it. But keep in mind that the last 2 weeks brings disappointments. They bring let down or played out, or what's been promised cannot be kept, or the finances promised to you are not coming your way, or at least most of it not coming your way, and that you may be forced to having to make changes. So don't ride very high on the first 2 weeks and start taking risks of all kinds. Stand your ground, remain stable, don't be too greedy, and then once you enter into the last 2 weeks of the month, you will start tasting a lot of pressure in business areas. Generally, your finances, the first 2 weeks are not troublesome because there's some stability there, but the last 2 weeks show that stability is not there, and therefore worrying about the income for the business and having to pay out for salaries and financial stress that way is going to be felt by you. The last card I'm going to be pull here is to do with your health, and it's facing me, so you can have some health issues or some health pressure. Now let me see for you the Rooster. If you're a woman listening to me, then I worry that your gynecological areas are suspect. If you're a man, I worry that the prostate gland, the thyroid for the woman as well, and the pancreas as well, need to be tested. Secondly, for you, the Rooster, I worry that your backaches are going to be piled up, meaning becoming worse and worse as the month moves on. These are the two basic worries for you that I have for the month of February. And that's what I have to tell you regarding your horoscope, animal signs, the Rooster, using Kabbalistic tarot cards for the month of February. Thank you and goodbye.